Hello everyone and welcome. Thanks for tuning in. My name is Giuliano and today I want to show you my favorite deck in Pioneer and Explorer, Rakdos Goblins, as well as find out if we can bring our green little friends to Mythic on MTGArena. I've been playing this deck for 1.5 years now on a nearly daily basis on Arena, and I'm still thrilled whenever I can bring the deck to a paper tournament despite being a modern player usually. Up until now, I only played one 50-man RCQ with this archetype, but I was able to top 8 immediately without dropping a single game in the Swiss rounds. Fortunately, I fell short there. Anyways, if you're looking for a fun deck to play, Goblins has a lot to offer. Before the bans of Sorin and Amalia, this deck was secretly well positioned, as we had game against Phoenix, main deck ways to answer Vayne Ripper cleanly, and a possible setup to interact with Amalia without the need of having open mana. So let's find out if Rakdos Goblins has the tools to compete in the new meta and if it's still one of the most underplayed archetypes of the format. When an opponent sees a Goblin on turn 1, they usually assume that we are an aggro deck, and while this deck definitely has potential of being aggressive, the Rakdos variant is much more of a mid-range deck, or a Swiss Army knife if you will. That's because depending on our opponent we can adjust our game plan. Against combo decks we want to be aggressive with some elements of disruption, against slow control decks we try to constantly push damage without committing too much to the board. Against mid-range decks we are capable of outgrinding them, and against faster aggressive decks we are trying to control the battlefield and kill their threats. After all, we are a tribal deck with a sacrifice sub-theme that is very good at dealing with other creature decks because of the many pseudo removals we have available to us, even including one-sided board wipes, but also combo-like turns and creatures that just don't stop coming for our opponents. So, how do we achieve all of this? Let's have a closer look at our list. Our deck runs more than 10 turn 1 plays to assure we are off to a good start. And the first one I want to show you is Goblin Prospector, probably my favorite goblin of all time. Goblin Prospector is a 1-mana 1/1 that lets us sacrifice any goblin to generate us a red mana. He's our enabler for a lot of interactions available to us, which I will explain later, and gives the deck a sacrifice sub-theme. In the meantime, he protects our creatures from exile-based removal by sending them to the graveyard. This may sound weird, but will make more sense as we go. He's a good tool against adventure cards like Bonecrusher Giant, as we can sack the target and make the spell fizzle dust go to the graveyard. He also denies effects like the minus ability of Wandering Emperor, and can recycle block creatures that are about to die to give us an additional mana mid-combat. The other 1-drops I'm running are 4 Cacophony Scamp and 3 Fireblade Charger. Both of them deal damage equal to their power to any target when they die, and therefore synergize with Prospector to remove other creatures or go face while netting us mana. We also run cards that provide creatures the Death Touch ability, making their pings lethal to any creatures. Both serves us as an early source of damage as well as a removal on a stick, while Cacophony Scamp being the better one for our purposes, as he can sacrifice himself when he deals combat damage to a player to proliferate and thus trigger his death effect, in the meantime without the need of a sack outlet. Scamp and Charger are also a source of guaranteed damage to your opponent when they attack, and they can become quite deadly if their power is boosted several times. Other than that, they usually trade quite favorable against other creatures, making them a solid 1-drop choice. All these 1-drops also have another purpose, which I will explain when talking about the real backbone of our deck, the 2-drops. One of them being Battlecry Goblin, a 2-mana 2/2 with an activated ability for 2 mana that gives all goblins +1/+0 and haste until end of turn, and when we attack with at least 6 total power, we get an attacking goblin token, making him the aggressive leader of our deck. This goblin scales very well the longer the game goes, and the more mana we have available to us, making him a huge threat in the late game, especially when paired with some other goblins able to attack. Some of the most used play patterns are either turn 1 1-drop, turn 2 Battlecry, turn 3 1-drop plus activate Battlecry, giving us exactly 6 power for our attack to create an additional attacking token. Another good time to play Battlecry is right when chapter 3 of the Fable of the Mirror Breaker hits, so we can activate it, give the Kiki Chiki haste, and copy immediately something on the battlefield. Another often used trick is to pump our goblins mid-combat. either before or after blockers. Usually you want to make sure to get a token first, and with a prospector in play you can use this token to gain mana for more activations. We can even sacrifice Battlecry itself to Prospector for an additional activation if we put the activation on the stack first. And remember the scams? Whenever we sack them for mana, they deal damage equal to their power. We can use this to remove blockers, for example. The combat math in these spots get quite difficult to handle, especially for our opponents, often leading to miscalculations and underestimating on the damage we are capable of doing. Our next 2-drop is Rundweld Hordemaster. Giving all our creatures +1/+1 is already a good rate for our deck, but the second ability makes this card really shine because it enables us to do some really cool stuff. With Hordemaster in play, whenever a goblin we control dies, we exile the top card of our library, and if it's a goblin, we may cast it until the end of our next turn. So, on its own, it's a 1/1 for 2 mana and not that amazing, but giving us a chance to get a goblin back whenever one of our green little friend dies is pretty strong and provides us with a good amount of removal resilience, often making this a must-answer threat for our opponent. Aside from that, his effects stack if we have multiple Hordemasters on the battlefield, in which case we can reach a point where we are able to start a combo-ish turn by sacrificing our goblins to Prospector, netting us a mana, exiling cards with every Hordemaster in play, and potentially pinging something in case we sacrificed a Scamp or Fireblade, which got boosted by the Lords and does deal more damage. You can see where we are going here. With enough Hordemasters, this can become a game-ending loop, by recasting and sacrificing one Scamp, Fireblade or Prospector after another. So Rundweld Hordemaster's passives not only serves us for aggressive purposes, his second ability gives us a grand mechanic to keep on playing and the potential combo if unchecked, making this an automatic 4-off in our list. Our last 2-drop is Conspicuous Snoop. This fellow is a card advantage tool for 2 mana with a 2/2 body, giving us the ability to play goblin spells from the top of our library. While Snoop is on the board, we play with the top card of our library revealed. Snoop gets all activated abilities if the card on top is a goblin, in our cases mainly the abilities of Battlecry Goblin and Skirk Prospector. Snoop usually is a card our opponent has to respect sooner than later, especially in grandy matchups. One cool synergy with him, Rundweld and Prospector in play is that we are able to manipulate the top of our library by sacrificing goblins to make Snoop find the next spell to cast from the top of our library, also acting as an additional look when we are able to start our combo. There's also a downside to this setup. If our opponent doesn't want us to draw a specific non-goblin card, he can cast a timely removal to exile the card due to Hordemaster's ability. Like Rundweld, Snoop needs a high density of goblins to make best use of him, but unlike the Hordemaster, Snoop doesn't scale in multiples, making him a potential cut in matchups where we side in a lot of non-goblins. But in the main deck we want him as a 4-off. Now we reach the top of our curve with the 3 drops and one of the reasons we are splashing black. Introducing Call of Death Dweller, a 3 mana sorcery that reanimates 1 or 2 creatures from the graveyard with a combined mana cost of up to 3 mana. Doing so lets us distribute a Death Touch counter and a Menace counter on either of them. So with the goblins seen so far, this serves mostly as a grind tool by recovering a 2-drop, which are usually kill on side creatures for our opponents, as well as a removal spell by putting a Death Touch counter on a Scamp or Fireblade, which then can be sacrificed to kill something with a Death Touch ping. A nice little 2-for-1 spell that can likely become a 3-for-1 or more depending on how much value you get out of your Rundweld Snoops in the meantime. Therefore we run 4 of these in the main deck. The card is already great in our deck, but there is an additional target we want to reanimate sometimes. Recurring a Goblin Chain Dweller with Death Dweller produces a one-sided board wipe for our opponents, as he deals 1 damage to each opponent, each creature and planeswalker they control when entering. And since Death Dweller gives Death Touch, their whole board gets blown up. And having a creature with First Strike and Death Touch on the board is no joke for our opponents as well. Other than that, a 3 mana 3/3 First Strike isn't that bad, and we have multiple ways to pump its power, making it a beefy creature to deal with. The ETB comes in handy from time to time as well. Right now we run 4 in the main, but depending on the meta, I can see us trim 1 in the main going forward. Last but certainly not least, probably one of the strongest cards in the format, Fable of the Mirror Breaker. Despite not being a goblin, it's just a good to not include. Every chapter is a big deal for us. Starting with chapter 1, it creates, notably, a goblin token that produces mana every time it attacks. Chapter 2 fixes our draws, therefore serves as a flood insurance, but also sets up Death Dweller turns, for example, by discarding Chain Whirler. And in chapter 3 it turns again into a goblin, with a powerful copy ability we can make good use of. I mean, there is nothing to not like about the card, except that it really should be a goblin saga so that Snook could play it from the top. Nevertheless, the card is exceptionally powerful and we profit even more of it due to the creatures being in our tribe. A perfect fit and thus an easy 4-off in our deck. Finally, we reach the flag slots in the lands. Right now I run 2 Fatal Push main since the meta has become quite aggressive with Rakdos Prowess on the rise. This card used to be Fanatical Firebrand when we faced more elves in the meta, as it provided a better synergy with Snoop, Rundwald and Death Dweller. Next, I have a one-off Toxin Analysis. There are several 1-mana Death Touch effects we could use. Most notably, when Boris Kumbok was a big player, we ran Touch of the Moongloves to deal tremendous amounts of damage while wiping their board. For now, I like Toxin more, since we get a clue for casting it and the lifelink can also matter from time to time. We usually use this card either on Chain Whirler in response to his ETB to get a board wipe for our opponents, or on a blocked or blocking Scamp or Fireblade, in which case we kill the block creature and we kill another one with a death trigger afterwards. Worst case, we can just cycle the card for 3 mana or bin it with Fable. Finally, we run 22 lands. I could see us go up to 23, but either way, we should make sure to have at least 13 to 14 black sources on turn 1. And that leads us to the sideboard. Note that all main deck cards are available in Explorer, but we miss some cards from the sideboard compared to Pioneer, so the sideboard differs a little bit. Other than that, the sideboard is pretty straightforward. Black improves our options by quite a lot. During the games you will see me adjust my sideboard going forward to match the meta I am facing. We have 4 Thoughtseize for the control and combo matchups. We run 4 ley lines for graveyard strategies like Phoenix, Greasefang and Sacrifice. We have the 3rd and the 4th copy of Fatal Push to supplement the playset in the main deck. And we also run additional removal spells to attack the Prowess decks by becoming basically a Rakdos midrange strategy with cards like Go for the Throat, Abrade, Bitter Triumph or maybe Molten Collapse. I also want to try out the new Chainsaw from Duskmourn. I think in the end we want 7 to 8 removal spells in total between main deck and sideboard to constantly beat the aggro strategies. In Pioneer we additionally run 2 Reckless Bushwaker for matchups where we want to be fast. Other options to be considered are Goblin Ringleader for grindy matchups, Damping Sphere, Alpine Moon, Necromancer, Feed the Swarm, Rending Volley, Redcap Melee or even Dark Betrayal depending on how the meta will develop. So that's it for the deck tech, but before we head over to the gameplay and find out if we can reach Mythic, I want to say thank you to the MTG Goblin Horde Discord for debating everything about goblins. If you want to join and discuss with us the latest changes, feel free to join. For a more detailed deck tech, I recommend to watch Commander Crane's deck tech on Rakdos Goblins, featuring Landon with his RCQ winning list and takes on our deck. And if you want to see more aggressive approach to the deck, check out I'm Out to Get You on his Gruul list. You can find all links in the description below, as well as a quick sideboard guide I developed during making this video. So, now it's time to rate the ranks and show them what goblins are made of.
Let's go, boys!
So, first game in gold. We are on the play and we find playable hand, nothing special, but I think we're fine with it. This is a pretty grindy hand with maybe the potential to go off. Seeing green-white means usually Angels or Greasefang. At this point I hope it's Angels. Black source, so it's Greasefang. And the command. Well, let's hope they don't hit.
Only a chariot. Okay, chariot we can beat. But we still don't have black swords, so let's get rid of the top cards. There's the black swords next. Now we hope they don't remove anything from our board that will remove the black swords from the top. Oh, just passing. So they probably go for another Grizzly Salvage. They only have one black mana. This is maybe important because now I can sack the Cacophony Scamp, reanimate it with the Prospector, and then have a Death Touch which I can sacrifice. And they would basically need to have a push plus the Greasefang and maybe a Parhelion to hit. So feeling quite good right now. With a Bloom Command doesn't stop this interaction because of the Rundveld, making our Scamp a 2/2 as well as our Prospector. And with a Battlecry Goblin on top we can even upgrade Battlecry, so only hit another Chariot, so I think they are in a lot of trouble now. Looking very good. Shock in. Hardcast Chariot. Okay. Yeah, they see the writings on the wall. My sideboard at this point is not very tuned, so bring in the Leyline, of course. The Goblin Chain Whirler I actually don't like that much. They can save us when they went off to not die immediately, but usually on the draw they are too slow. Too slow to set up this, therefore I cut a lot of them. Push I actually don't like that much here because they are incentivized to kill our Prospectors anyways, and this is our main way to trigger the revolt in their upkeep, in their turn. Let's just hope we find a Leyline and have a nice and easy way there. They can beat us though with a fair plan as well, especially if we go down in hand sized by putting Leylines on the board, but it's much easier to handle for us than the constant pressure of Greasefang. So the first hand was okay, second hand was maybe a little bit better, basically the same. Not willing to go deeper with a playable hand. So this time they have a Parhelion, so next turn is dangerous, but we found a Prospector, which is actually a pretty good draw here, because this lets us cast it, sacrifice both of them, and reanimate them for a Death Toucher in the upkeep, so they can't go Greasefang next turn at least. Buys us at least a little bit of time. But we are still in trouble to find the third land. Okay. Probably they are also trying to find their third land drop. Push. Oh, this is bad news. This is pretty bad. Now we need a land. And even then it's pretty hard. Go for the throat. Is an answer to Greasefang, but we are not developing our board and falling more and more behind. In this spot I should have killed the Informant. Another setup turn. This time they found the Greasefang, so our next turn is also blocked basically for go for the throat. Yeah, this is bad. Leyline is not what we need. Again, I should have attacked and sacrificed the scamp for the informant. At least we have the go for the throat here. Yeah, we are basically on the prayer that they don't find anything soon. And now I want to block because I don't want to fall below 14 because their Bahelian combo does 13 damage. No land. So this means we are on a prayer. Oh, push. Well, even a land wouldn't have saved us if they have Greasefang this turn. Caged Grape. Yeah, there's the Greasefang. This game is over. Unfortunate, but that's how it goes sometimes. Now we are on the play, and I think I want to be a bit more aggressive. I cut the pushes because they sometimes feel really bad, and I rather improve my goblin synergy. Let's just hit this ley line. And we had two of them. I'm not gonna mulligan this because going to 6 and having a ley line, it's also 5 cards in hand, and this ensures us from a Imoutogetyou. Now, as mentioned before, they can beat us in a fair game, but it's much more unlikely. My biggest concern right now is that we flood, because I have my third land rolled up. Basically from now on I want to draw only gas. Damping Sphere, nothing I care about. Oh, and Fable is a very good draw. Now I think we are far ahead. Yeah, blocker. Charger is actually a good draw, removes the blocker. And I don't bother the Blackleaf Cliffs too much because this allows us to activate the Den of the Bugbear next turn. Oh, and even hitting a Scamp is pretty good. This game, I think, is over. Maybe if they have a board wipe, but even then we get lots of front wheel triggers. Yeah, Chariot. Chariot isn't enough. And I'm gonna kill one of the 2/2s end of turn because this denies them from activating the Chariot. And this way they have to jump block either the Shaman or an activated Den of the Bugbear. Well, hitting a Scamp means that I can remove their last blocker for no mana, and this is a kill. Yeah, GG's. Well, winning game 1 against Greasefang always feels good. Game 2 we were a bit unfortunate. Game 3 was pretty straightforward. On to the next one. Again on the play. One lander. Otherwise this would be a good hand. On the play, I would like to keep that. This hand is okay. We have the small being on the play combo with Cacophony, Scamp and Rundwelt in case they play 1-drop. So we can usually remove it and get a Rundwelt trigger out of it. Black Sauce is in play. Prospectors, usually it's not that bad. Stomping Ground, I think it's Prowess probably. but no play on turn 1 makes me doubt it. Naya. Well, we will see what we're up against. Down to a Vanguard. Okay. Now I'm surprised. We miss our third land drop. We could ping the Vanguard. For damage for basically a 50% chance to hit the Goblin. Isn't that bad. But it's a gamble nevertheless. This doesn't get tapped when they use the indestructible ability. So, oh, hello. Vigilance, Trample, Lifelink, Indestructible. And still checking, no, doesn't get tapped. So I guess we get hit for 5 lifelink. We are maybe a bit more in trouble than I gave credit for, especially because they can replay it next turn in case they have a land. And speaking of lands, three drops in hand and missing them. I think I want to get aggressive with sacking my goblins to play out that Fable and maybe hit a goblin or two. In the meantime, first was a miss. This deals them at least 4 damage. I would have attacked first, but I need the mana to cast the Fable. Well, 0 goblins hit is bad. Maybe we go for a Death Dweller, because we can block with a Death Dweller, and if they activate we can sack the Death Touch, scamp again to force him to pay another 4 life. Speaking, this is only true if they don't have land into, and then not land into another indestructible spell, of course. They have the land and play a Voice of Resurgence. I have no idea what I'm up against, but they are not attacking. No land drop number 3. I think now I really want to play a Fable. Yeah, let's get rid of this voice. Bone Crusher Giant. Now we have an extra mana. We sacrifice the Rundwelt here because this makes the Bone Crusher fizzle and go to the graveyard. Now I'm not sure. 3/3. First strike isn't that bad, because if it dies we can reanimate it. Maybe I should have gone for the Fable anyways. But then I don't want to discard my hand, because the hand, these are all good cards. But I need to find this third land drop. I guess they will go for the pump spell again. Yeah, Here we go. Taking another 7 lifelink damage. Now I can't even do my play with blocking and then sacking it. And I probably don't want to, because in case we don't find land number 3, we need fodder. Going down to 8. Hope they don't find more of these spells, but again I have no clue what my opponent is up to. Prospector. 15 cards deep in the deck, 2 lands. But we have things to do. Let's start with attempting to kill something. Maybe it's better to kill a token. Get back our lord. We have no good attacks here. This game, maybe they are flooding. Typical flood with us versus short type of situation. They attack. Okay, let's block first. They will activate it. Then I sacrifice it and make them pay another 4. Then they have probably a backup play, because they didn't attack previously, but now they do. Again, Rundweld hit, misses. Fable. Nice to have Fable available. And the Resurgence. Death Dweller backup Death Dweller isn't the worst here. Don't mind having that. Let's attack first and then sacrifice the Chain Whirler afterwards. Hope I don't exile another land. Fireblade. This is a mistake. I should have played the Fireblade Charger, kill the voice first, and then go for the Chain Whirler. But it's marginal since I can do it. Probably I should be able to do it next turn too, but the token they create might get out of range from Fireblade Charger, so this was a slight misplay. But they are at 4 life. They are... I don't think they can attack more, except they find this lifelink spell again. The second Vanguard is basically only a 2-mana 1/1. Wow, another Death Dweller. This was, I guess, the last one. But this, I can try to shoot him dead. Or I can remove blockers, since my Chain Whirler has Menace. This would be lethal, but they have a protection spell and gained life for it. Unfortunate. So I think there is still a possible way to win this turn, because we have 2 menace creatures. It's not that easy for them, and they want to They want to protect the 5/5. They're Fable flipping. Spellbinder. I waited on the Death Dweller for one turn. Now this bites me badly. But there maybe is a way anyways. This is like a little more sneaky way to have lethal, because I will sacrifice the Chain Whirler and bring it back, sacrificing a lot of Skulk Prospectors in the meantime. And then they are incentivized to tap their 5/5 and go to 2. And when the Chain Whirler enters, he deals 1 damage also to the player, but wipes their board in the meantime. And then all there is left is a 5/5 indestructible and a 1/1 with menace. And I think this will get them. Let's find out. This is hard to see for our opponents. They could have a protection spell. Then I'm not in the worst spot anyways, because I need to get rid of this reflection anyways. And the board is getting pretty chunky. Yeah. Now they get the 1 damage. Well, I had 2 attackers anyways, so wouldn't have mattered. So sideboarding, I have no clue what we are up against. Not sure if I really want that push, but we'll see. They seem to have a lot of targeted spells for the creatures. Let's find out what they're doing. Okay, this hand is not good. This hand is fine. I think I want to get rid of the Charger, since he's the weak one of the 2 compared to Cacophony Scamp. Now we have our 3rd land rolled up, and the Fable to ensure us from flooding. And we may be able to find the combo. Not sure how much it's worth in this matchup, but it's a possibility. I'm not sure why I did this. Oh, feather. Ah, now this all makes a lot more sense. And I have no way to remove it. And we've seen that they play protection spells, so this might get ugly fast. So let's set up the Fable and find a Death Dweller in case they do ugly things to us. Yeah, 5/6 now is already pretty chunky. Push would save us too. Land. Let's go digging. I guess we keep digging. We need to answer this feather rather sooner than later, because he can basically replay the pump spell every turn if he wants to, and getting it's basically lethal in 2 turns, so don't think we have that much of a choice. I keep 2 cards in hand. for discarding because they don't really matter right now. And maybe I want to play the battle cry later when Akiki-Jikis hits Fable hits chapter 3. So no green mana up. Ah, there's the Death Dweller. So now we are in business. And I may go the risky route and discard Battle Cry and Charger and bring them back. This leaves us vulnerable to a removal spell in the Prospector. Oh, but in that case we have backup push now. So I need to Death Dweller first, can't play the Rundveld before. Resolved, great. So now we have double insurance. Even if they have anything to protect the feather, we can then push in response. And now we flip the table. Let's get in. Do I want to copy anything? I don't think so. Want my board as chunky as possible. Now I have still have Fatal Push with Revolt up due to the treasures. Could sacrifice something, but I didn't have quite lethal this turn. So now I'm sacking one of them and leaving up one treasure just to have that push available, but this way I have insurance if in case they have a board wipe or something like that. Oh, and they do have it. I'm glad I've played the Hoardmaster because now I can get value from my dying goblins in the meantime, and I don't need to let them die just like this because I can still pump them. And what this does is it makes the scamp bigger. And I want to leave the treasure token open, so I have a push in response. Oh no, oh no, that wasn't intended. Ah, damn it. I wanted to do it like this, but I didn't thought of the treasure. Oh, I hope this don't bites me. Yeah, it would have been one less damage from the scamp, but I had the treasure to answer anything they play. For example, this feather. Oh, this is bad. This might lose me the game. They have the pump spell. They can maybe even cast it twice. No, they can't because Feather exiles the spell. But this brings me down to top deck. So I need to play the scamp because this is my only creature right now. Well, not the only. The scamp is the one that can be sacrificed to activate Fatal Push, but then I also have the reflection of Kiki-Jiki and may copy something in case we live another turn. Okay, I'm happy with that because that means we are alive. Now we have to be cautious because we need to pay one extra for everything that we are targeting, and our stuff does one less damage. Luckily we have two Hoardmasters in play. This is pretty good interaction with two Rumpelt monsters getting 2 triggers every time the copy is dying. So now we need, for the push we need 2 mana. This is not quite lethal, we are missing 1 damage. Because we have 6 and we get reduced by 2. So instead, going face anyways in case we hit Prospector Plus. Can send the first one to face. The second one, which is actually the real one, I think I don't want to use it now, because the token is actually scarier than the voice itself. So let's see what they can do. They gain 4 life. They put us down to... If they have another one. Do I be worried? Do I have to be worried for Palm Spell? Well, 4 is unlikely. Back to 7. So what do I want to copy? I think it's close. Let's go for more damage. So this right now is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 damage. This should be lethal, but I thought that already last game and they had a life gain spell. I'm glad I'm hitting anything because I may need a blocker in case they do, in case they have something. Well, let's try it. Again, 3 to face. Another hit is good because going to 1 and they tell me safekeeping. Nice. So they are at 1. Basically in the tech with a 6/6 trampler next turn. Yeah, I think it doesn't matter, I play both, go to 2. Yeah, need to double block, but the 6 life shouldn't save them. Next turn is quite lethal with all that open mana. Oh, well, that was an interesting game. Fable. Okay. I think we got this. Another Hold Master makes things easier. Another Battle Cry. Can't afford, because then I can't activate and copy something. Now I think I want to copy a Rundveld just to maximize the damage I'm actually pushing. Yeah. And these are lethal now. No tricks left. GG's. Nice little interesting game. I think this deck is interesting, but it probably falls short against exile-based removal. Oh, not sure. Maybe they have enough protection spells. Well, good game. Up to the next one. We are in Platin now. First hand, this is lands. Second hand is slow. Well, if I can trust their sleeves, they are on angels, then this hand would be quite okay. Let's try it. And they have a white mana. So, if they are angels, we want to make sure to find at least one Death Dweller, usually. Wish Mystic turn 2. They must have found this. Wish Mystic this turn. Yeah, let's go for the Chain Whirler straight away. Don't want to collect the company from them on in turn 3. This way we can apply a little bit of pressure and keep their life lower. Prospector, it's a good draw. Make sure we can put our Chain Whirler in the graveyard in case we draw. A Death Dweller. And let's apply more pressure. So, 4 mana, there it is, collect the company. Let's see what they hit. 2 Skyclave Apparitions. That's actually not that bad for us. They go after the Horde Master and the Chain Whirler. We want to sacrifice the chain. Sacrifice them both. Damn it. There was a Death Dweller gone. We want to sacrifice them to put them in the graveyard, to have them available for resurrection. In case we draw a Death Dweller and don't care too much about the tokens. They are sometimes valuable, but not in this case. So at this point we want to dig as much as possible. We have enough tools to grind. We need to find action in form of Rundwells, Death Dwellers and the Pingers. I think I even want to cast this Rundwell just to dig a little deeper, because the second Snoop doesn't give me anything. There is another Rundwell. Well, let's see what they are doing. Bishop of the Wings. Okay. Next turn can become scary. Fable flipping, would have loved to see Battle Cry. Let's get rid of this land on the top of our library, and I think I want to high roll in case I draw another Pinger or I draw a Chain Whirler. We have some outs here. Damn it, another Death Dweller gone. And I think I want to try it again, because if we fail we can still play our Fable, and the Fable on the top doesn't help us too much. Didn't find anything in 4 draws, it's unfortunate. Well, this could get scary this turn. Let's see what they do. Resplendent Angel means that they can't deal us tremendous amounts of damage this turn, but are set up for next turn, because they get an Angel end of turn, and then their treasure hold is reached. Yeah, we are desperate to find something, but we have 2 Rundwells and we have a Reflection. This basically means we have 3 Horde Masters in play if we want to, and this gives us a lot of looks. Let's start by attacking with the Shaman. This gives us a treasure, and if they don't block it, I don't know why they shouldn't, but if they don't block it, we have it available as a sacrifice for them. Yeah, they're blocking it. 3 Rundwelt triggers. Let's see what we find. 3 is usually a pretty good number to keep on going. Hitting only Chain Whirler is not ideal because this eats up a lot of our mana. Let's sacrifice the Fable. We are basically all in here.
Explosive time!
Scamp is great. Now we need to find more 1 and 2 drops, and we deal 4 damage with this Scamp. And the first target is the Valkyrie. Afterwards it's probably the Bishop, because this makes a lot of tokens, but we have a Chain Whirler in that case. Miss again. Need to play one of the Chain Whirlers, sacrifice them. Let's hope for the best. There's a 1-drop, nothing more. And it's tougher than I thought. But this usually doesn't fail. Now we're cooking. 2 1-drops. So let's see. I think I deal 1 to the Bishop. Now let's recycle the Prospector first. See what we are drawing. Nothing. Yeah. Let's play another Chain Whirler. This gets rid of most of this stuff, I think. Yeah. Let's go on. Don't want this angel to be on the board, since you can activate it next turn. Let's sacrifice the token. We only need to find 1 charger. Here it is. So board cleared. It was tougher than I thought. Now we can play a 2-drop. Set up for next turn. Next Fable is about to flip, and with the Battle Cry we can give it haste. And we have a lot of goblins available to us. Go. Best card in the spot for them, I guess. Skyclave Apparition. Okay. They have identified that the Scud Prospector is a danger. This time I let it resolve because I have a Prospector already lined up. So once again we are in need to do something. And we have another Rundwelt in hand. I could activate the Battle Cry to copy again with Kiki-Chiki, but I'm not sure I want to do this right now. Let's see how many pingers we already have used. There's still some left. Let's try to find one. Could play the Rundwelt, but I want to leave my options open. There it is. So we kill the Valkyrie, and now they have no cards in hand. This is the main threat on the board. Looks good, I guess. Now 3 mana available to us. Could use some of these goblins. I think I want the Battle Cry because it lets us be aggressive. next turn. And I don't mind attacking with the Battle Cry. Don't want to expose the Rundvelds, but the Battle Cry is basically, I'm fine with them trading 2 creatures for 1. So, if they find another Valkyrie, this would be 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 damage. Nothing. So, I think we can probably kill them this turn. Oh, wait. 1 mana short to do it all. Let's sacrifice the Fable first. See if we hit anything else, and if not, we can use this mana to activate Battlecry Goblin. Nice. Fireblade Charger is basically deals 5 damage for 0 mana here. We have no cards in the library left. We've gone out through all of them. Guess doesn't really matter if we remove a blocker or deal face. I think this is super mega lethal. Yeah, let's get in. This should be plenty enough, because even these tokens are 5/5 now. They've seen enough. Cool game. Liked it. We did manage to wipe their board without the Chain Whirler combo. Always fun to see that. And as you can see, I've changed my sideboard a little bit. Go for the Throat is fine. The Braids, maybe too much, but I like to test it. I'm trimming down a bit on the combo and also on the Snoops, since I bring in a lot of removal spells, and this makes the Snoops hit less targets and just shows the opponent what our next draws are. So hand is fine. We have a 1-drop, we have a removal, Master, opponent mult to 6. Let's see what they can do. Yeah, no elf. We can Bishop of the Wings. Maybe I should have played the Blackleaf Cliffs first. No. Doesn't matter. I decide to go for the Rundveld. Normally it's better to kill, but I have so many 2-drops. To be mana effective, I need to play a 2-drop, I think. So this turn I can remove 1 creature and play another 2-drop. And I don't want to play a Rundveld pre-combat, because this allows them to block the Scamp. If they block it right now, the Scamp dies and deals an additional 2 damage. And yeah, let's play one of our battle cries. Make this look a little bit scarier. You see why removing the bishop was necessary here? So now I definitely played one of the Rundvelds. I could have also battle cried, but this gives me an attack for 7, creating another token, and then I can kill the Resplendent Angel, maybe find additional goblins with 2 Rundwald triggers. Here we go. Nice. Now we are applying pressure. They are forced to have good collected company, and they don't. They just scoop. Game over. GG. On to the next. In the meantime, we reached Diamond, playing against the Mythic. So the opponents are getting better. 1 land on the draw. I think we have too many 3 drops to gamble here. This hand is actually fine. Opponent has a companion. Izzet with companion. Oh. This is probably the Ensoul deck, I guess. Kids are okay. This card worries me a bit.
When in doubt, blow it up.
I think what we can do here is to get rid of both of them, both of their creatures, and I think I want to do that. This looks too much of a setup what they are having. So I kill the Epicure first, sacrifice the Prospector, bring them both back, and kill the Kitsa here. Fortunately, I have nothing to do with the spare mana, but I think this play is good enough. Inti, the thing I like to see. Missed land drop. So I could either do it again, maybe should have attacked first, but I don't want to risk them having a removal spell. So let's kill the Inti. They have 2 cards in hand, and our 3 cards left are all very grindy. Oh, a tree. So they are kind of on the new tree tech. Let's play this about. The Prospector has done his work, and if we don't hit land drops, we might get rid of goblins on the top, or maybe not. Agathas. So they don't have at least a creature on board right now, and I would prefer if it stays that way. They're exiling our creatures, but we already have go through 2 Death Dwellers by now. And there's land number 3, Fable. If they have a land drop, they can activate the Den of the Bugbear, but would run into a Goblin Shaman now. They could then pump it in response, so don't have good blocks. Their land is tapped, so I go for the Giganta. Two Rundwelds. I mean, if they want to activate the den here, I'm fine with it. They're probably playing Giganta, yeah. And no cards in hand. Unfortunately, we don't have that much to do. I want to attack with Shaman anyways, because I want to find action. And this gives me 2 triggers. Let's see what we find. Okay, 2 hits, nice. Let's play the Snoop first, land on top, not that great. We could get rid of it, but all of our goblins are fine now. Don't want to get rid of any of them, and maybe they have a removal anyway, so let's see what they are doing. They have no tree in the yard, but they could go for the kids and do some strange stuff. Copy removal spells maybe. Another land on top. So let's go for a copy and see if they have a removal. They don't. Which goblin do I want to sacrifice going forward? I think it's the Kiki Jiki. Again, with 3 Rundwilds, it's pretty unlikely that we miss, and we have a 4th look with Snoop as well, so I think...
Explosive time!
This game should be locked. I mean, this Snoop is dealing 5 damage, exiling 4 cards. There is another one, so that's already 10 damage. We did only find 1 goblin though. Oh, but they have seen enough. Okay. Yeah, it's pretty unlikely that we miss from here. 5 looks for Rundweld and the Snoop is pretty much. So I guess I want to have removal. Chain Whirler is a bit clunky on the draw again. Toxin I don't like because they seem to have a lot of removal. 1 Snoop because it was good last game, kind of. But we are bringing in a lot of non-goblins, so don't want to find too many of these. Let's see, our opponent is ranked 198, so pretty high rank. Fortunately we have a no-lander, so that's a mulligan. 2 Scamps and a Fable. Well, let's see what we can do. I bet they have removal, but didn't want to waste it on the Scamp, and they even bin a removal. What they are looking for lands. Let's just play another Scamp. Don't want to play the 3rd one because I want to keep the Prospector, and I need the other land to play Fable. Then the 3rd Scamp is maybe one of the cards that gets dumped. Oh, or this one, preferably. Go for the Fable pre-combat, because now we have the option to proliferate if we want to. Don't think it's worth it right now. Nah. We may find a worse draw next turn, and they didn't have anything up until now. I think they are, maybe they are holding a board wipe. They did bin a Tree of Perdition, so this is something we need to be aware of. The next turn I think I want to develop a Script Prospector. Nothing again. Let's bin both. If we draw a land this turn, wouldn't be too bad. Oh, no, never mind. Fable flips next turn. We could get in for a lot of damage. Let's play the Rundweld first. See what they are doing. In case they have a board wipe, the Rundweld is pretty good insurance. Never mind. So I expect them to have board wipe. want to play the Skirk anyways, because next turn chapter 3 hits, we can play the Battlecry, swing for 6 and get a token out of it. Do nothing again. I don't know what this means. Let's find out. This is a pretty big swing. 2, 4, 6 and 6, 12, 13, 17. This is lethal if it doesn't have anything. And I didn't want to activate Second Goblin because we could get blown out. Sukenzan. Okay. Yeah, that's unfortunate. Don't want to lose the Prospector. Counting, it's not quite lethal. Or is it? They changed the blocks? Yeah, they messed up, didn't they? These are 11. Yeah, we have lethal. Maybe it was lethal anyways. This deck can sometimes get lethal out of nowhere. Well, nice. Up to the next one. We are on the play against the Giganta deck. Hand is keepable. First 3 turns lined up on curve. Giganta Island. I don't know what that means, but island means no removal. Let's play the Battlecry, so we have a lot of options next turn. We could either play one of the 3 drops, or we could go for the Cacophony Scamp and use the Battlecry to attack with 6 power. More than 6 power. No, 6 power. 7 power. Red mana. I think I don't want to go with the Scamp, because if they remove it while the cast is on the stack, then it's a feel bad moment. Let's see, Fable. What you got, opponent? Picklock Prankster, so it is a Phoenix with Giganta. Well, don't feel bad with the Fable on the table. And the Battlecry in play. They probably will remove the Battlecry. And Shredder can be a problem sometimes. Lightning Axe on the Shaman token. Okay. This is surprising. Oh. Now they are in trouble, I think. Double Rundwelt is pretty strong. I normally don't like to give them a trigger, but Double Rundwelt is so much pressure here on board. And they don't have really good blocks here. If they block anything, the Shredder will die. And I will make sure to keep it off the board. Another Rundwelt. We're getting close to combo. I think you want to proliferate and raise the pressure even more. Okay. So now our opponent is on do or die basically. And this looks like a treasure cruise, yeah. Let's see what they found. Tapped land is bad in this spot. pass. Let's make our creatures even beefier. Lightning Axe. Let's copy something. Battle Cry. This is additional 7 power on the board. I think the game is over. I have 2 removals, but it's not enough. Don't think they can win this game from that spot on without board wipe, and they usually don't run their main deck. So Toxin is bad because they have a lot of interaction. I'm not that happy with the Chainwhirler combo. I want the ley lines, of course. I want the pushes for the Shredder. The Shredder is the glue to their deck and can get a problem for us sometimes. And Snoop goes out because of the non-goblin cards we're boarding in. So we have a little bit of a clunky hand. This is all 2 drops. Yeah, 6 is probably better. A leyline is pretty good against them. With Botanical Sanctum. And pick your poison. Wow. Nice. They found a way to kill our leyline immediately. That was surprising. Okay. Now we are in a little bit of trouble. But we have Death Dweller at least. Would be nice to find a Rundveld to generate value while we are doing the Call of the Death Dweller thing. So no Shredder. Turn 2 is nice. We are flooding a bit. 1-drops and lands. It's not the greatest. Let's save this Scamp from exile. I'm keeping the pathway in case we need black mana. We probably will need it. So here's the Shredder. Conniving. No Phoenix found. Another land. Ooh, this is getting bad. I'm not sure if we want to, but we probably have to remove the Shredder. The hand doesn't seem too strong, and I don't want them to fix it soon. So let's kill the Shredder. And again, we need to find something. Treasure Cruise. God, I hate this card. I think the deck, Phoenix deck is fine deck. Treasure Cruise is probably a little bit too much for the format to handle. There is another Shredder. There is another 1-drop. Can attack with the Menace creature. And have to pass the turn at this point. If they have the board wipe, so be it. Deal them 1 more damage before the cards gets destroyed. I think I didn't have to, didn't I? I'm so used to sacrifice them just in case. Lightning Axe, discarding Steam Vents for a Prospector, so it looks like they are in the driver's seat here. And another Shredder. Death Dweller. This is what we need to come back. But we don't have that many good targets, so it actually is only the start. We are still under trouble. If we had a 2-drop in their yard, this would have been an excellent draw. It's not bad, but we are under a 3-turn clock here. But they are at 11. 11. Oops. Played it on the wrong side of the... Didn't mean to play it as a black land. Doesn't matter.
Let's go, boys.
And this is 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, it's lethal. If they don't have interaction, it's lethal. I bet they didn't see that coming. And the scamp gives us the reach. Killed them out of nowhere. Top deck Battlecry. This is why he's so good in our deck. So we're still in Diamond, but this is a match for Mythic. If we win this, we reached Mythic. Our opponent has Giganta, and I'm playing more and more meta decks by this point. Played a lot of Rakdos Prowess here. I expect it to be the next one, since this is the newest kid on the block. Kumano. Kumano is actually a pretty good card against us, because the creature shuts down the die abilities if we lose them in combat or due to them having any direct damage. Usually these Rakdos decks don't play that much interaction and are mainly combat focused. I have a challenger going in for 3. Our hand is not interaction heavy, so I'm not sure if racing is the best option here, but we don't have another option. I did sacrifice the scamping because I can play the prospector, kill it anyways, and maybe hit the 1-drop. We didn't, but we had a goblin anyways. So we are winning the race by now. The Kumano is nice for them, but it's not a prowess creature. It's not the one we are super scared of, I think. I hope. If they have another one of these and the Killer's Sword, then we are cooked. No, they don't. Yeah, in the spots we need to use the Prospector to gain run with triggers. That's a lot of damage. 2 cards left. I have a backup Snoop in hand, and the 3/3 first striker is decent blocker. Usually, in our case, it's even 4/4. So let's rely on him. Even with a monstrous rage, it's already on them, but if they give it +3/+1, we still kill the creature. Sure, this is totally fine for me. Let's see if they have something else. They have a pretty painful mana base here. So this is excellent news. Now I'm looking for a way to attack with everything, to make them jump block the Chain Whirler, and I think I want to get rid of the Snoop since we have a backup one. This is a bit risky, but I don't want them to give too much time. And this is the spot where they are probably scared of us doing something. So let's play the other and hit. Perfect. So now we can attack with everything, and they have to jump the Chain Whirler because we can sacrifice the Scamp to deal them damage. This is basically perfect. We have a life draw spell on top. Don't think we will draw it. I seem to have Claim Fame. Looking at their graveyard. There it is. And what I didn't realize at this point is that they shocked themselves down to 2. So what I should have done is just kill them. Instead, I killed their creature, and this was obviously not the right play, but it was enough anyways. So our sideboard had transformed basically in a very removal heavy sideboard thanks to the rise of Rakdos Prowess. We are basically switching to a Rakdos mid-range deck at this point, somehow, with a lot of removals and cutting a bit on the top of the curve to keep up with the pace they are putting creatures onto the board. This matchup is fine for us if we can handle the first turns and remove their threats. In the long term, we should have no problem to defeat them. It's all about the speed. So, one game up, one more, and we would reach Mythic. This is probably the harder game to win. This hand is clunky. We are on the draw, we have no play turn 1, no interaction turn 1, and only one removal. This hand needs help. This is not help. This is not helping us at all. Let's see. No creature turn 2. What? I'm surprised. Let's take 2. Do nothing. What does this mean? Are they waiting for us to play removal spells? In this case they probably have push, and I'm willing to deploy Chain Whirler. It's the only creature they can't push. Buying Giganta turn 3. Okay, this is not a hand my opponent was very happy to hold, I guess. Let's play the Snoop and get value in the meantime while we can. Swift Spear attack. I don't block. I think I have there is the push. I think I have the faster clock. Right now at least. So I think I miss lethal for 1 damage. I'm 1 damage short of lethal. So let's hold back the second Rundveld and keep mana open for the removal. I think if we play it like this, we shouldn't be able to lose. This looks good. Well, we was obviously not the top end of their draws, their possible draws. Removal is fine. They did have an interactionary hand. Wasn't expecting that. Most of their lists don't run that much removal spells. Maybe they just found them all. There is another one. Yeah, now we can kill the Swift Spear. And this is it. We made it. Rakdos Goblins to Mythic.
And after all these games, there is only one thing left to do. And this is play some more.
So, one more game to show you on the play against the Yorion deck. And is keepable. And against Yorion, I value the Skog Prospector usually very highly because I expect a lot of exile-based removal. And we have a Call of the Death Dweller, and I don't want our goblins to get exiled. And usually these decks don't run that many creatures to kill early. Might as well. Portable Hole. Here we go. Let's sacrifice the goblin before it goes under the portable hole. This is tricky because of the Yorion and maybe other possible blink effects they could have, but I would much rather have access to them. And the Death Dweller is already in hand, so no reason to not sacrifice it. Path to the World Tree. Okay, this looks like an enigmatic version of the deck. Another Death Dweller. So can't I have to sacrifice 2 goblins to get back the battle cry and activate it immediately? Let's wait for one more land. Or one more removal spells. Fires of Invention. Interesting. And Enigmatic Incarnation, okay. Go for something big immediately. Toisemir. Don't you kill the Chain Whirler. You will regret it. Let's attack. We haven't found another Chain Whirler. If they block now, we don't even need to reanimate, since we can deal additional damage and finish off with the Chain Whirler. Back to where we were last turn. Don't think that's a good sign for us. Another Fires, another Incarnation. Ooh, they could get good stuff here. Let's see what they are finding. It's probably, next turn is probably a turn where we will reanimate a Chain Whirler. Terror of the Peaks. Okay. Skyclave Apparition. I would have thought that there would come out more firepower out of this deck. I do let the Skyclave Apparition take my Chain Whirler because I do have backup Chain Whirler in the yard already. And we can need the 3 additional attack power, because if they go on in this pace, we probably don't keep up forever. Okay. They don't like another Chain Whirler combo, huh? Now the big ones are coming. So I can't Chain Whirler again because of the Elishnorn. But I can remove it nevertheless. I would like to have Battlecry in play, but I missed this Prospector to sacrifice the Scamp, so it's unfortunate, but it is what it is. We are not totally. I need to kill the Elishnorn because they are an ETB deck, looks like, and Elishnorn is doubling all their triggers. So they attack first. This is an immediate block because if I don't kill it, they play the Yorion, bring it back, kill something else. Or threaten to kill something else every turn after, if they don't develop the Yorion right now. Let's see what they can get. Portable Hole. Why are they so afraid? Oh, yeah, okay. The Yorion, they take 2. This double removal. That's not too bad. He's looking at the Fireblade. Let's sacrifice it. It's an additional damage. And yeah, this Snoop does need to find us something. Rundveld is a good start. Okay. And now with the Battlecry Goblin, they have to be very, very careful. This can be, if they overextend this turn, we may have lethal next turn. But they are already looking at my goblins, so I expect them to have a removal, get lost. Sure, we will lose the Fable. Not sure if that's the card we want to have in this spot. It's not bad, but Glasspool Mimic, copying Yorion. Okay, we go for another removal on our Rundveld, I imagine. Yep. Let's see if we can hit something. Well, at least a Scamp. So they didn't attack, unfortunately, but they don't have cards in hand. They fired them up pretty quickly. So I could activate the Battlecry, but I would lose too much. Let's use this map tokens to pump up, fix our draws. Prospector is not what we want to see, and just pass. So if they don't find something right now, we have a pretty big attack incoming next turn. They attack with the Yorion. Wow. Follow up. Looking at my goblins. It's probably a removal. Leyline Binding. They take the Scamp. They aren't afraid of the Battlecry, aren't they? They should. Well, it's not lethal this turn. Or is it? Let's see, I can activate 2 times ahead. I only need to activate once. They only scry, right? No draw effect. Yeah, I think this is lethal. They take 4, 5 for sure, 6, 7, 8, yeah. I underestimated the Battlecry. In the late game he's deadly. And we will sack the Battlecry to itself. And this should be it. Yeah, Battlecry is deadly in the late game when you have so much mana available to you. So in this matchup, Thoughtseize, Goblin Ringleader, grind tool, don't want the pushes, don't want the toxin analysis. And 3 more cards to cut. Chain Whirler, it's too slow. Bring in their Braid for the portable hole. 1 more card. I want to keep some fables, some chain whirlers in case it goes to the skies and I need to answer something. This hand is okay, it's not the perfects, but as a prospector would much rather have a Rundveld in this matchup because it's kind of attrition based. So let's play our prospector out. They are inspecting it. But not killing it, so Leyline of the Void should be up. I don't want to play the Snoop because I want to have the chance to immediately get value out of him. Portable hole, okay. The prospector. This time I let it resolve because I have a Braid in hand. And now, drawing the Call of the Death Dweller, I immediately regret it, but so I misplayed here. I should have maybe killed the portable hole, sacked the Battlecry and cast the Cacophony Scamp for it. This would have been the most aggressive way in denying them the life gain. But I am worried about them having a board wipe here. Turn 4. No, they go for the Enigmatic instead. But this does nothing right now, doesn't it? Yeah. Let's free our prospector. We only have 1 Battlecry in the yard, so this is. Don't feel great about this play because this leaves us very much open to a board wipe, but if they don't, then it sets me up for having lethal next turn, and I think with a Kindred in play, with them only playing Kindred, I think we have lethal on board here. So let's sack the Fireblade Charger, reanimate the Battlecry and the Fireblade Charger, kill their Kindred, and then we have 2 mana up to pump our team.
Let's go, boys.
So this is already 12 damage, 14 damage, and now we sacrifice both tokens. And yeah, it's lethal. Checking. It's exactly lethal with the Scamp dying, dealing the 3 missing damage. Boom! 18 in 1 turn. Nice, good damage.
Alright, I hope you got a good impression why I enjoy this deck so much. It is a blast to play, can adopt different stances and has a moderate breeze of randomness to it that allows us to believe in a comeback, no matter how desperate the situation seems to be. During my games I played a lot against Rakdos Prowess, Uwe Control, Sacrifice and Caretaker token decks. Out of these matchups I think I'm only really scared of the Igra Sacrifice deck, since Mayhem Devil is a really powerful card against us, and they improved their deck with a good combo finish. If you have any suggestions for sideboard cards in this matchup, let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and remember, Goblin products are built to blast.
There once was a sad little goblin who had a broken broom. When he went anywhere, it would wobble in the air, and his heart would fill with gloom. He tried so hard to fix it every night, but he just couldn't get it working right. The wobbling goblin with the broken broom could never fly too high, for right at the takeoff, another piece would break off, and soon he would be dangling in the sky. Each evening, just as he would leave the ground, his radio would say,
"Control tower to Goblin, your broomstick is wobbling, you'd better make a landing right away."
It soon got so he could only ride when the witches took him piggyback, until at last he used his brain and bought himself an aeroplane. So if you'll look for him on Halloween, you'll see him zip and zoom. No harm can befall him, no longer can they call him the wobbling goblin with the broken broom.
Where there's a whip, there's a way. Where there's a whip, there's a way. Where there's a whip, we don't wanna go to war today. Where there's a lord of the land says, nay, nay, nay. We're gonna march all day, all day, all day. Where there's a whip, there's a way. 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 Left, right, left, right, left. Where there's a whip, there's a way. Left, right. The track on the back says we're gonna fight. We're gonna march all day and night and more. For we are the slaves of the Dark Lord's war. Left, right, left, right, left, right. Where there's a whip, there's a way. Where there's a whip, there's a way. Where there's a whip, we don't wanna